to Legally Speaking with me, Tarun Nangia. Justice Dhananjay Yashwant Chandrachud has walked the talk. Indeed, on the issue of women empowerment, he has delivered. And why do I say so? Because, as data points out, in the past 75 years of independent India's existence, 12 women, only 12 women were designated as senior advocates by the Supreme Court of India. And in one single year, during the Chief Justiceship of Justice Dhananjay Yashwant Chandrachud, 11 women have been designated as seniors. So, in a sense, what happened in the past 75 years has again happened in just a matter of 1 year under the Chief Justiceship of Justice Dhananjay Chandrachud. It is a matter of pride that what he spoke, he has delivered on. And so it is a matter of pride, and we celebrate this today on this show because such acts have to be lauded again and again, so that these things are encouraged and message goes down to even the district judiciary. And also, we want to now speak on this issue with an eminent panel. May I introduce you to Senior Advocate Geeta Luthra, one of the most eminent lawyers of India. She studied at Cambridge, if I'm not wrong, long years ago, came back to India and started her practice. After studying in the UK, she came to an India which was very different. But she made it on her because of her own hard work and merit. And she will speak to us on this topic, about which she speaks very passionately. I have with me Meghna Mishra. She is a partner with Karanjawala and Company, one of India's leading law firms, with, if I'm not wrong, one of the greatest representation of women partners. So she is eminently qualified to speak, and as an achiever, that at one of India's leading law firms at the Supreme Court of India, she is a partner. So she is herself an example of how women can make it with hard work and determination. So looking forward to hear you, ma'am, on this issue. I have with me Advocate Ishna Kumar, who practices at the Delhi High Court, the National Company Law Tribunal, the NCLAT, and the Supreme Court, and has earned a name for herself. And she is relatively younger to the other two panelists, but has earned a name for herself in this arena. Good to see you, Ishna, and looking forward to your insights from what you feel about what Justice Chandrachud has done for women. I have with me Advocate Alia Waziri. She is an advocate and an author, and of course has strong views on the issues of women empowerment, which she, of course, has articulated in her book on the issue of women, about which, of course, we'll also talk someday. But good to see you, Alia, and looking forward to some interesting insights from you as well. Shortly, Advocate Neha Nagpal, founding partner of NM Law Chambers, also will join us in this and put her view. But at the outset, let me request Senior Advocate Geeta Luthra to give her opening comments on Justice Dhananjay Yashwant Chandrachud. Over to you, ma'am.
So, I've been fortunate. Justice Chandrachud and I, along with Pinky, Parag Tripathi, and I may miss out many eminent names, were all on the INLAC scholarship. I went to Cambridge, but I think our first scholar to Harvard was Pinky, and she sort of opened the portals for Harvard welcoming Indian LLMs, and Justice Chandrachud, of course, got a doctorate also. And I believe that, academic qualifications make you all the more, at least academic, in his case, erudite. So opening aspects on Justice Chandrachud is that when he came in as Chief Justice, because of his brilliant academic record and professionally, he was very well qualified, good lineage, there were great expectations of him. I believe that with regard to empowering women, in one sense, Justice Ramanna has perhaps taken the lead by making women judges, Justice Chandrachud has followed that lead by making women senior advocates, something that people like us used to struggle, whether you were from Harvard, whether you were from Cambridge. I mean, I want to flag this. It has been so difficult for women to become senior advocates. We were either too loud or we were too assertive. And I'm so glad all this no longer stands in the way of women getting designated.
Thank you for that opening comment. I'll go to Advocate Meghna Mishra, partner with Karanjawala and Company, for her opening comment.
I think what has happened, and as Geeta ma'am rightly said, I mean, there has been a long struggle over the years for women to have some sort of a representation, very far from, any equality over there. But what is really, I mean, I think across all women in the profession are really appreciative of the fact that Justice Chandrachud has actually done what he had promised. It is not just about, he's walked the talk actually. And with so many women being designated, there is a message that is sent that yes, this is a profession where women can also thrive, irrespective of what gender you may be. And I think diversity and equal participation in the judiciary is also a goal which has been spoken about so many times. I'm very pleased and elated that we are at least going through that journey finally. And, there is still some tenure, a long tenure left, Chief Justice Chandrachud being there. So I'm hoping that there'll be more such positive steps which will come through.
Okay. Well, thank you for that opening comment. I'll go to Advocate Ishna Kumar for her opening comment.
So, of course, adding to what both the earlier speakers have said, I think Justice Chandrachud is one personality who understands the organic nature of the law and the society. I am actually reminded of the judgment that he had passed when he overruled his own father's judgment about 4 years back in the ADM Jabalpur, when he was identifying the right to privacy. Despite the fact that it was a judgment of his own father, he didn't shy away from accepting that change has come in, and that change is something that has to be brought in by him. And I think as much as there is much criticism about the fact that we are much delayed on what has come in, I think it is a much, much welcome step of the change having been not only looked at, but implemented. And I think Justice Chandrachud is one person, and nobody can deny that, who understands that equality is something a female will only feel when the responsibility is actually divided, equally. And it actually reminds me of Justice Ruth Ginsburg, when she said that justice is equality for women is when that responsibility is seen. And like you said, Tarun, that what we saw in a period of the entire judicial period, and we have seen it at one stroke. And I think with Justice Nagaratnan being the first female Chief Justice of India in 2027, exciting times are coming out for females in the judiciary and in the legal system. And it is inspiring as a young professional for me to have such a strong backbone at the helm of the judicial system.
Thank you. Thanks for that opening comment. I'll go to Advocate Alia Waziri, who joins us from the City of London. Alia, thank you for making time. And one thing I would want to know from you, you wrote a book on this subject. So it also, in a sense, signifies how strongly you feel about the cause of women empowerment. And when you see Justice Chandrachud walking the talk on this and designating 11 women as senior advocates, what are the thoughts cross your mind?
Thanks, Tarun. Again, I'm a complete tadpole in front of this amazing panel, and anything I say will be very small and very insignificant. But what I will say is that the first time I went at the bar, when I went to the court, I was 18, maybe. I don't even know what I was doing in the court, but I'd gone there. And I remember seeing Rebecca Mem and John argue. And I wasn't into law then, but that's all I wanted to be. I wanted her clarity, I wanted her brilliance, I wanted her grip, everything. And the reason I'm saying this in context of the 11 women who have been conferred as senior advocates, it's important to recognize it's coming in the context of a long struggle to be seen, to be heard, and more importantly, to be taken seriously. How else is the younger generation like me and the women who come after me going to know what representation actually looks like? Because every woman in a leadership position causes a butterfly effect by being on equal terms with their male counterparts. I've said this before in one of your episodes only. It's a really exciting time to be a young woman at the bar in 2021, and I'm sure Ishna is going to agree with this. In 2021, when Justice Behraj Trivedi, Justice Hima Kohli, and Justice Nagarutna were designated, were elevated to the bench, I mean, that was phenomenal. This is just a cherry on the cake.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that comment, Alia. Appreciate that. I'll go to senior advocate Geeta Luthra. You may remember that we recorded a show when there were 12 women judges at the Madras High Court. And that time we celebrated. Of course, we followed it up with then Justice Hima Kohli was elevated. That was a moment of pride for the Delhi bar, and so on and so forth. We have routinely taken up issues when, in a sense, there have been instances where women have either stood out or there have been decisions which indicated women empowerment. Given that as a fact, how do you see the times changing for women? Because we are looking at top general counsels, which are women now in the sector. Now, a lot of senior advocates, right from the Supreme Court, are women. Women judges, of course, have now increased in the past few years. And as one of the panelists mentioned, woman Chief Justice of India, which is indeed heartening to know. How, because, you know, you have, from the standpoint of what you have seen in the past 3 decades, how things have changed. And of course, as one panelist alluded to the fact that, you know, women sometimes I mean, people are troubled by the rise of women, a strong woman. Given that as a fact, how times are changing now?
So times have really changed. They are changing. But should I say something? I mean, this is just, I don't know whether I'm just being the negative person out here. But what I've seen is that in corporate law, you'll see women rise, not maybe as partners as much as the men, because ultimately at the partner level, they want you to bring in work. And when they want you to bring in work, they want you to bring in money. You know, they've set your limits, and perhaps sometimes that pressure on women partners. So you are doing superbly well till it comes to the stage of being partner. But all you have to show for your work is your quality, your hard work, your dedication. Now, at partner level, in many top law firms, I'm not talking only of India, I'm talking all over the world. It matters if you can bring in work. And sometimes women cannot bring in that work. They can't bring in that amount of equity or that money into the firm, those kind of clients. And so women partners, even in becoming partners, women may lose out. I don't want to be only the negative person here, but ultimately we have to realize these things. Now come as general counsel. Now women are very sincere. They're very dedicated. You know that they will probably not be doing any double crossing, which is not to say men are double crossing, but somehow people find women very trustworthy. So, as a result, a lot of women general counsels have risen over the last at least decade, if not 2 decades. And it's beautiful to see it. It's very hearty to see. Women are coming on their own. They are general counsels in some of the topmost companies. And therefore, they are in a position of trust. They're a position where there's faith reposed in them. And it's wonderful to see women general counsel. The rise is slow, but it's good. They are rising right to the very top, because at that level, what they have to do is they have to perhaps engage senior counsel, they have to plan strategy, they have to vet it, finalize. They've gone the hard way. They've been in some of the best companies, and they are tried and tested. Women are doing beautifully as general counsels. Now comes litigation. Now comes litigation, which is the toughest job. And that's where you may be dismissive. Your colleagues will be dismissive of you. Oh, so and so, she will only be doing service law. So and so, because they will say, okay, the two sort of places where you may be seeing commercial corporate litigation, criminal corporate litigation. So people will sort of short shift their women colleagues on those aspects. And in that, it is very slowly but surely that women are getting to be trusted in all fields. So you see intellectual property, there's no question, questions asked, women are getting trusted. So there are fields still where people are being hesitant. And that's the field where women have to break even. Ultimately, when you are giving the judicial exam, judicial services exam, because women are academically very hardworking, they will keep studying, they will do their academic work. A lot of women.
Point well taken.
I think I've given a rather long analysis, but it's these 4 fields, and I'm just telling you how they are emerging. We just want, while women as judges, the moment they are appointed, men and women will respect, because in India, we love nothing but authority. So the moment somebody has authority, they are my God. But we have to respect them while they are professionals and colleagues.
That's a very fair point and very valid point you made. Advocate Neha Nagpal has joined us. She's founding partner of NM Law Chambers. Neha, you're an achiever in your own right. You started your own law firm along with your partner, and litigation is a tough word, but you made it on your own. So, given that as a fact, could you tell me how do you feel when you hear that Justice Chandrachud, under his Chief Justice, 11 women have been conferred the senior gown? What kind of thoughts cross your mind when you see this happening in the Indian judiciary, women being encouraged so strongly, and Justice Chandrachud walking the talk on this one?
So, Tarun, firstly, thank you for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure. Secondly, I think that's a very interesting question that you've asked, and I've been saying this for a while now. In fact, recently I was invited to. There was this mentorship platform that I was invited to talk, and there were these girls about who started asking, is the legal profession, especially litigation, for women? And I said, it's the time is now for women in litigation, and Geeta ma'am would endorse that, because she would have seen the generational shift that has happened. I don't think the opportunities, and I thank people like Geeta ma'am, Pinky ma'am, Indu ma'am, Pratibha ma'am, all of them, because it wasn't for all of them really, holding on to the fewer opportunities that they had, the real the glass ceilings that they had, if they didn't break the glass ceilings, we today wouldn't have the opportunities as women that we have. So thank you to that generation. And I really think that the time is now. And what Justice Chandrachud has done, he sent a very clear message out there. And I hope that in all courts, not just the Supreme Court of India, but all courts encourage women and junior women as well to, sort of make their presence felt.
Okay, thanks for that opening comment. I'll go to Advocate Meghna Mishra from Karanjawala and Company. You, in your own right, have seen that transition, being in the profession for 25 years now, a little over that. And how would you rate the kind of winds of change that are blowing on this issue?
So, Tarun, the struggle, when I had joined the profession, we already had Geeta ma'am, Pratibha ma'am, Pinky ma'am to look up to. Now, when we go to court, we see so many more women litigating in all seriousness. And I want to bring here, I'm a partner in a law firm, Karanjawala and Company. We have 12 partners, of which 8 are women. So I don't think litigation is something that is male dominated from where I am sitting. And this firm was founded by Manik Karanjawala and Mr. Arayan Karanjawala. As a couple, they started it, and we are all, I personally encourage more and more girls to join my team. And I think as each woman assumes a position, a place in the organization where she has some power, has the ability to extend a helping hand to a junior colleague, just to help out, just to guide. I think if we all do that, that will go a long way. So yes, senior advocates being designated is very helpful, but I think gender representation, as Nehar very rightly said, has never been better, and it will keep improving from here on. And as Geeta ma'am said, perhaps, in corporate firms, maybe less representation at the moment of women partners, but that's bound to improve. I mean, if we look back, ma'am, 20 years, there were no women also in litigation. But we've come so far. So I look at it as a very positive step that we've come so far. And I'm absolutely sure that it'll just keep improving.
Okay, thanks for comment. I'll go to Advocate Ishna Kumar. I, in my own experience, have felt that in financial crimes and there is a reverse tendency going on. I see a lot of high-profile accused trusting women advocates more and more because they bring a sincerity. I think Neha would also vouch for that, and Meghna would also vouch for that. Of course, Geeta Luthra, she argues these matters in court. There is an element of trust that then sincerity they bring. Not to say that men are not sincere, but obviously, I know what, I mean, you may know what I'm trying to convey. I'll go to Advocate Ishna Kumar. Now, you in your own right handle some of high-profile, company law litigations. Given that as a fact, tell me, in the recent times, what Justice Chandrachud is done is one thing, designated 11 women and sent a strong message. Do you think the past few years have been good for women empowerment in that sense, be it GCs, be it arguing councils at High Court, and be it the judges? You saw from the Delhi Bar, you saw at the Supreme Court. Do you think that times have really changed for women practicing law?
Tarun, I think times have changed, and as has been said, they are changing for the better. And I like I said in the opening comment as well, that 2027 we see the first CJI for India. So considering that, and I would say this is not only limited to India. Even if we look at it in the international scale, we are having a first of a female at almost every organization. And I feel as a female litigation lawyer, I feel very confident with, of course, the kind of ground that has been set by the generation of Geeta Luthra ma'am. And of course, more so arguing before a female judge, and she looking at us with the Delhi High Court having female judges like Justice Pratibha Singh, Justice Rekha Palli, Justice Jyoti Singh, before whom you can appear with all that confidence and grit to be looked at, not from a lens of being a female, but from a lens of putting forth and representing the client's case. That coupled with the fact, what has been said, that there is dedication, sincerity, commitment of a female comparatively and relatively more. And also, I think it's being talked about more because there is a lot of power of a female that is being tried to be proved. So every female, I think, there is putting the extra effort so as for her to be recognized, is something that surely at the bar, and of course with the support of the female, I mean the benches, it is 100% a change that we see, and a change which not only is encouraging, but it is something that we look up to for to give to our future generations as well, so that any junior who wants to come in, we can pass it on to them. So
Point well taken. I'll go to Advocate Alia Waziri for this point. Given that you have seen so much changing, what do you feel for the future? More women judges at the Supreme Court? Because this time, obviously, the Chief Justice of India that we have has a short tenure, a very short one rather. But do you think we've seen Justice Hema Kohli, well, started from Justice Fatima Bibi, in whose memory we did a show recently. I think you were part of it. How do you see the future?
I just, before I answer your question, I quickly want to sort of buttress what Meghna ma'am and Geeta ma'am was saying earlier when Geeta ma'am said that she might be being negative. I think just to contextualize it, there have been 3,149 senior advocates who across Supreme Court and the High Courts in India. And out of these, 106 are women. In Supreme Court, there have been 18 women senior advocates since 1966. So I think as somebody who's standing at the end of where people have seen the struggle come from, it seems like we've come a long way, but we still have such a long way to go. And I'm not saying that this is not something to be celebrated, or it's not appeasement either, but we still have a long way to go in terms of recognizing merit. Not something that we're seeing as a favor towards women, but because they have really assisted courts in numerous ways, professionally, meritoriously, better sometimes than their male colleagues. And I say this in light of the fact that, from an academic and jurisprudential point of view, India is actually a steadfastly affirmative, gender-just legal system. We had the Maternity Benefit Act all those years ago when a place like United States of America didn't, which would rather have women better off as mothers, away from the workforce. So we have all the right tools. We just need to implement it.
Point well taken. I'll go to Advocate Neha Nagpal. Now, when you handle some of the most high-profile criminal law cases and deliver on it, say in the Supreme Court or other forums, and Neha, you yourself would have practiced for about 2 decades, close to 2 decades now. So you, in your own right, have seen
a year short of it.
A year short of it. So when you see what Justice Chandrachud has done, this is another what you can say a flag that women have planted atop the hill. Wherein you say that okay, even this has been achieved. That when so many advocates have been designated, so many number will be women. This is something as a bar which has been set. So with what Alia said, that the number is actually overall very less. What do you think has been achieved by Justice Chandrachud's decision? What psychological victory has been achieved as far as women are concerned?
So I'll share an anecdote with you, which has personally changed a psychological belief in my head. This is literally the first month when I started practicing, like 15, 16 years ago. I was in the Supreme Court, and I was told, oh, go to Justice Kachu's court and ask for a passover. And just if he doesn't give, because Justice Kachu had this reputation where he just didn't give passovers, because he would be like, no, we're not sitting here just to give passovers. And we had briefed Mr. Mukul Rodkin. He was in his legs in some other court. So I said, but I don't even know I've not read the file. I have no idea. And we were like 3 items away. So I was just told, listen, start crying. And, only a girl can do that. So go, just start crying and get this Passover. Lo and behold, I went. Justice Kachu looks at me, he goes, हाँ मोहतरमा, हम तो आप ही के लिए बैठे हैं Passover देने के लिए, हमारे पास तो और कोई काम है नहीं, आप ले आइए अपने बड़े बड़े वकीलों को. That day, 16 years ago, and today, it's been a long journey, right? Like, we've repeatedly had Supreme Court be more encouraging of women. We've a few years ago also there were like at least 7 women, or 7 women designated by the Supreme Court. Today we have 11, which is unprecedented. We're looking at 2027, as Ishna rightly pointed out, as the first woman Chief Justice of the country. So definitely it is getting better, and it will keep getting better. Psychologically, I think there is definitely an atmosphere. One thing is a narrative. One thing is an atmosphere. So we definitely have had the narrative for a while, but the narrative converting to an atmosphere of confidence building for women in the profession, I think we're there. And it can only get better. It's literally every generation of women lawyers have passed the baton down to the next generation.
That's why we say Justice Chandrachud walked the talk.
Correct.
And this is a moment to celebrate. And in this celebration, I appreciate that all of you could make time and join. It was short notice, but given that this happened only yesterday, we had to make a point on this one. And I feel that when we also recognize what the judges do for us, it is important to celebrate what they do for us, because these things should be recognized. How else will you thank our judges? Correct. But this is something we must celebrate, and congratulations to all of you and everyone watching this show. Thank you so much for joining me.
I just think post November 2024, it'll be on everybody to keep the atmosphere going so that women just stay encouraged to be actively involved in the profession.
We remain hopeful, but bye for now. Thank you so much.